name is Jenna Davern, and this is my Program Improvement Project, Part 4. The improvement area that I decided to focus on was the individual centers of the classroom, and these centers are music, art, and dramatic play. I found that I could improve these three centers the most. Okay, so my step one of this project would be to focus on the music center itself. I want to create a better and larger music center with more of a variety of different materials available to the children for active exploration no matter what, in addition to what they already had. And in the center that I saw in the classroom, it was very small. It had maybe 2 shelves with like maybe 2 or 3 containers filled with musical instruments, but it wasn't a large variety of them, and that's what I wanted to focus on. I would add larger shelving space to contain all the musical instruments, and of course all of those different instruments like xylophones, cymbals, tambourines, guitars, stuff like that. I want to add all of those for the children to be more creative with and create their own music with. And I also wanted to add books about music. I think it's important to have books about each center or subjects in each center for them to read to help with that literacy. Okay, and step 2 is to focus on the art center next. And again, I want to add more of a variety of materials to the center for them to actively explore. The center that was in the classroom I had volunteered in was a great size. It just didn't have a lot of materials in it. It had, of course, the round table with the chairs, glue, chalk, paint brushes, but all of these things, there wasn't a variety of them. It was just maybe a small group. So I want to add more materials, like more colored markers and more colored pencils, because they seemed to fight over this while I was observing them. They wanted more markers and more colored pencils, at least more of a variety of them. They had plenty of crayons. I wanted to add Play-Doh, glitter, felt, googly eyes, yarn, tape. They had lined paper, but they didn't have any colored construction paper or plain white construction paper. It was all just white lined notebook paper, and I really think it's an important thing to have a large variety of materials like the paper, because people don't really think paper is important, but to be able to create, they need the different types of paper. So I think that's important. My step 3 is to focus on the dramatic play center. And like I said before, everything just needed more materials, more of a variety of materials. The current center at the classroom had a few things, but like everything wasn't finished. Like they had a doctor kit, but it didn't have all the tools inside. They had a cash register, but no money, and the cash register didn't work. You had to like pry open the door for it to work. They had some dishes, utensils, play food. They had like paper and pencil with clipboards to take orders, but they didn't have any menus. And they had a few empty boxes of food, like snack foods like crackers. But again, I want to add more of these things. Because COVID, they didn't have any dress-up clothes, but I would assume they would have had that with different costumes for community jobs as well. And I think they should have had cleaning supplies there, like vacuums, mops, sponges, empty bottles of soap, because that's a part of the dramatic play area. They just didn't have any. Some beauty salon equipment. I had a little girl who wanted to pretend to do my hair, but they didn't have any tools or toys to actually act that out. So she just had to use her imagination, which is fine, but having those toys to add to it makes such a big difference. Step 4 is basically overall for all the centers, they needed new storage bins. The ones they had were either cracked or I witnessed kids cracking them because it was just so easy to crack. They need more sturdy containers to hold the materials for the centers. And I suggested clear ones, which they do have, which I like the clear ones because the students can see what's actually inside of them without having to take the bucket out and look inside. My last step for this improvement project would be the labels. They need to label all the furniture, all the centers, and all the materials in the centers in both English and Spanish to help with that multicultural in the classroom, as well as provide pictures of what the label says. Of course, there were some throughout the classroom, but not everything was labeled with all three, English, Spanish, and a picture. And to complete this, all the materials that you need would be just a computer, a camera, a printer, scissors, and tape. For research, all the materials that I talked about in all of my steps for the centers, I found everything that I would have needed at Kaplan Early Learning Company. You can purchase all the materials, furniture, everything all on that website, which I thought was really cool. And also in my literature review paper, which was part 2 of this assignment, I found 3 articles of authors that all agree about how important the physical environment is for these young children and their learning and their development. They all talk about the importance of materials that are available to the children, as well as the different areas of development these materials aid in, which of course is very important, and it just proves how much that the environment helps with their learning and aids in their learning. And those materials need to be there to help with that. And lastly, I needed 3 pieces of evidence to indicate that I implemented my plans for the improvement. And I would have 1, took note of the popular centers before and then after the improvement. 2, video record children in the centers before and after. And then 3, take individual running notes of one child interacting in the center before and after the improvement to be able to see these before and after changes and how much of a difference these little additions of materials add to them. And that is it for my program improvement part 4. Thank you for listening.